Hi guys, and thank you so much for joining me. If you are new to my channel, I'm Kat and I like to talk about true crime, conspiracies and all sorts of related things. If you follow me regularly, you might have seen my community post last week, I think it was on Friday, where I've been feeling really down and awful, really horrendous. And thanks to all your positive comments and your prayers, I feel much better. And I just wanted to thank you so much for all the lovely words of encouragement you gave me in that post. And after reading all the positive comments from you, I decided that I'm just going to pick myself back up and I'm going to carry on working as usual to bring you more content for the channel. And so around Saturday or Sunday I had this plan in my mind that throughout the week I'm going to keep on researching these cases so I can get more and more content ready for publishing on YouTube. And then on Tuesday this happened. Yes, it's a positive and not for pregnancy. So yeah, that happened. The whole week I've been really poorly, down with this positive test and the symptoms, especially on Tuesday where I couldn't literally get out of bed. I've been in bed the whole day, and on Wednesday I had such horrible muscle and joint pains that I could barely move, and even when I was moving I could feel my muscles shaking. It was so bad, it was horrible. But finally today is, as I'm recording this video, today is Saturday and I'm feeling much better. So I'm hoping that I don't sound with a blocked nose. I still have a blocked nose and the tickly cough is still there, but overall I feel much better. So in today's video I will talk to you about a child's case. So if this is a triggering point for you, then please step away from the video now and I will see you in my next one. Also, before I get started, I just want to give everyone a quick disclaimer. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I don't mean any disrespect to anyone I talk about in the video. All the information I'm giving you is already found in the public domain. Thank you so much. 16-month-old Star is remembered as a gorgeous blue-eyed baby girl who was betrayed by those who should have kept her safe. Star Alicia Hobson was born on 21st of May 2019 to her parents Frankie Smith and Jordan Hobson. Frankie was a month short of her 18th birthday at the time she gave birth to Star. Frankie and Jordan split before Frankie started a toxic relationship in November 2019 with Savannah Brockhill. Savannah and Frankie met at the Sun pub in Bradford city centre where Savannah was working as a bouncer. They became lovers, but their 11-month relationship was on and off, obsessive and marked by violence, heavy drinking and verbal aggression. Frankie, a struggling teen mom with an IQ of just 70, and her twisted bully of a partner were the toxic combination that would bring the end of Star's life. Pub bouncer Savannah Brockhill referred to herself as #1 psycho and claimed to have dropped men and women with her punches. She used her bare hands with devastating effect by punching the life out of her partner's 16-month-old baby, Star Hobson, and entertained herself by filming cruel pranks on the girl she claimed to love. Both women claimed to love Star, but they would call her names and play cruel pranks on her, which they filmed for their own twisted entertainment. Savannah referred to Star as a brat even after her death, and Frankie seemed more interested in going out drinking than caring for her own baby. In one text to Savannah, Frankie called baby Star evil. Savannah then told Frankie in one message that Star is a very nasty and naughty child and she didn't like her ways. In turn, Frankie once beat Star and the witness said she told her, "Shut up, you." Savannah, a one-time mixed martial arts fighter, security guard and dog handler, threatened to put love rivals in a wheelchair by breaking their kneecaps. A former amateur boxer, Savannah, seemed to be bragging when she told the jury later during the trial about her punching power. She was obsessively jealous, physically powerful, violent and controlling. During her relationship with Frankie, she used social media to intimidate any potential love rivals. In one post on Snapchat, she threatened to cripple anyone who looked at Frankie Smith the wrong way.
Guys and girls need to remember the fact that Frankie is with me. She keeps getting a lot of message requests and friends requests. She's not going to accept, especially tramps like yous. And if you want to keep your kneecaps, I suggest you stop sending her them. She's with the #1 psycho.
It's social media. You can't stop everyone from sending a friend request, you know. A disturbing caption beneath the video said, "I am psycho when it comes to my girlfriend and wouldn't mind putting anyone in a chair for the rest of their life if they as much as look at her wrongly. Keep safe, don't message my girlfriend." Savannah subjected Frankie to beatings, and as their relationship continued, her violent rages were directed at her lover's defenseless baby girl, Star, who was beaten so badly that she died from unsurvivable injuries.
I'm coming. I'm coming for you. I'm coming.
Frankie Smith, described as a lazy mom more interested in partying than her own daughter, took part in cruel pranks on Star and failed to protect her from a woman who she knew was a bully prone to sudden and violent rages. The baby was used as a punch bag, humiliated for laughs, and suffered at the hands of the two women who were supposed to show her love and affection. The mistreatment of Star included being slam-choked, lifted by her neck or throat, and thrown on a bed in order to toughen her up. Star Hobson seemed to get some positivity and safety in her life, and she was given 3 months of hope and happiness when she was looked after by her loving great-grandparents from February 2020 to late April. But when Frankie took her back, it marked the beginning of the end. Bruises began to appear on Star's face as friends and family showed real concern for her welfare. Frankie allowed her violent girlfriend Savannah into their lives, ending the affection and attention Star had with her relatives and forcing Star into a real-life horror story during which she was beaten, filmed falling from a chair, and dragged through the streets of Bradford with a broken leg and fractured skull. Star was laughed at when she fell asleep on the sofa with her face falling into a bowl of food. They have even referred to Star as It. They both recorded footage of Star falling from a chair, customizing it with music as if to create a comedy show. Frankie would film herself on her phone disciplining her daughter by making her face the wall. Disturbing footage shows Star being dragged along in a harness, and this happened after Star already suffered a refracture to her shin bone and a fracture to her skull. Another shocking clip taken from CCTV and dated September 13, 2020, just days before Star's death, shows Savannah alone in her car with Star at a recycling plant in Doncaster. She is slapping Star 9 times, punching her 7 times, and grabbing her twice. Star was supposed to be in her warm bed, but instead she was sleeping in the back seat of Savannah's car as she worked a night shift as a security guard at the Eco Power environmental plant in New Rossington near Doncaster. Meanwhile, Frankie enjoyed nights out in the town. Savannah and Frankie had a toxic relationship and an aggressive one. In one incident, Savannah punched Frankie in the face, busting her lip and breaking a tooth. After Star's death, with her lifeless body laid on a hospital trolley, Savannah arrived and casually placed her coffee cup on the trolley, even leaving a nurse shocked and upset. Star Hobson suffered a broken leg caused by very considerable force around 2 to 4 weeks before her death. Consultant pathologist Professor David Mangum, an expert in bone fractures, said Star suffered fractures to her skull, her right tibia and 2 ribs. He said the injuries happened prior to her death. The broken leg happened between 2 and 4 weeks before Star's death. A refracture of the tibia bone happened between 3 and 7 days before Star had died. Her skull had been fractured 5 to 10 days before her death, and the ribs had been broken between 2 and 4 weeks before her death. And this poor 16-month-old baby walked and lived, which I can only imagine to be in excruciating pains for weeks before her death, with all these fractures and refractures. Professor Mangum said the injury to the head was at the back of the skull. He described it as a complex fracture with a small piece of bone shattered into 3 separate pieces. He described the leg fracture as running the full length of the bone, with evidence that it had refractured between 3 and 7 days before Star's death. The skull fracture would have been caused by blunt, forceful impact. The first fracture of the tibia would have required a twisting element of force applied to the length of the bone. Asked about the cause of such an injury, he said most likely gripping the leg and twisting. Speaking about the rib fractures, Professor Mangum said the injuries were healing and happened between 2 and 4 weeks before death. The ribs suffered repeated trauma, but Professor Mangum could not say how many incidents may have taken place. Star died in hospital on September 22, 2020 from catastrophic injuries following repeated assaults. She had been either punched, kicked, or stamped on. Frankie Smith was in the bathroom at the time of the attack, with Savannah the only other adult who was present. When paramedics arrived at the couple's flat on Wesley Place, Keighley, they found Star apparently lifeless and pale. The pair delayed making a 999 call for over 11 minutes as she lay dying. Instead, they made internet searches about shock in babies.
Ambulance service, is the patient breathing?
Yeah, she's breathing.
Is she conscious?
Yeah. She's a bit of both, really. Basically, it's my partner's daughter. It's my little girl as well. I brought her up. We've got all 3 children here playing, and I was in the kitchen making a coffee, and they've been in the living room, and I heard a bang. So I came out, and the little lad stood there, and the little girl's on the floor, and she was crying, and then she stopped crying, and then she was sick, and now she's just a little bit floppy, to be honest with you.
And what do you know what the bang was?
No, I don't know I don't know if she's fallen off of the sofa, or I don't know. Just there's 3 of them playing with us. And
right.
he just said start, and when I walked in, she was laid on the floor. Shush, darling.
So you heard a bang, the patient was on the floor.
I've heard a bang, yeah. I came in, and the little lad was saying Star, which is the little girl.
Yeah.
So I've shouted at Mummy, said sit up, Star. So I sat her up, and I started to rub her back, because she was like breathing but like struggling.
Yeah.
So I was rubbing her back. She started to be sick, so I laid her on the floor.
Yeah.
Put her in like CPR position, started to run her back. She started to lose breath, so I performed CPR on her.
So you've done CPR on her?
Yeah, I've done CPR. I've got her in the recovery position now.
A post-mortem examination found lacerations on her internal organs and bruising to her lungs and abdomen. Star's father, Jordan, posted his own heartbreaking tribute shortly after her death, writing, "To my beautiful daughter, you are so loved and are going to be so missed. The hurt I feel is not like anything I've ever felt. A piece of me is now missing. You are my brightest star and always will be. I love you always. I will never forget all the times we spent together, all the joy we shared, and the moment you came into my life. We will give you the most beautiful send-off anyone can deserve. I love and miss you, my beautiful star." A year after his daughter died, Jordan wrote, "1 year ago, my whole world came crashing down. I miss you so, so much. If I could speak to you one more time and smile and laugh with you, would mean the world to me. Every time I look up to the sky on a night time, I always see you are the brightest star in the sky, watching down on your daddy, making sure he's making the right decisions. Don't you worry, my little star, we will have our answers for you soon, and then daddy can be peaceful once more. Daddy loves you so much, don't you ever forget that." For the family of Star Hobson, all that remains are daily reminders of the pain they face, knowing they will never see their little blue-eyed girl again. Star was just 16 months old when her life was taken from her at the hands of her mother's girlfriend, Savannah Brockhill. Star's mother, Frankie Smith, brought Savannah Brockhill into their lives in November 2019 when Star was just 6 months old. The violence began soon after and during Star's short life. She was subjected to repeated beatings by Savannah. During a 6-week trial at Bradford Crown Court, the court heard how Star was subjected to kicking and stamping as well as a slam choke in order to toughen her up. On the day Star died, she vomited large amounts of brown fluid in an ambulance prior to being rushed to the hospital. She later suffered a cardiac arrest and died. Star was found to have several fractured bones and broken ribs. These were discovered in addition to her fatal injuries, which were shown to be internal bleeding caused by a severe blow or blows in the form of stamping on or kicking to the abdomen. She also suffered a laceration to her liver, damage to her bowel, and bruising to her lung and pancreas. Alistair MacDonald, prosecuting, told the jury Star had suffered such catastrophic injuries there was never any real chance of saving her life. Healed fractures showed Star had been repeatedly beaten on previous occasions, but bruises which her wider family has raised concerns about were always dismissed by Frankie and Savannah as falls, such as hitting her face on a coffee table. There were so many opportunities by the police and social services to save Star, but of course, yet again, they maybe felt like she didn't deserve to be saved, because otherwise, why would you let a baby die when you are given chances over and over again to save her life? And let me just tell you exactly how many times these chances were missed. On 23rd of February 2020, Frankie's friend, Holly Jones, contacted social services over concerns about DV, partner violence. Police and social workers visited Stars, but no concerns were raised. In February, Frankie said she split up with Savannah and Star went to live with her great-grandparents David Fawcett and Anita Smith in Bayldon, Bradford. On 26th of April, Star was taken by her mother to live with her and Savannah in Keighley. On the 4th of May, Anita Smith contacted social services after she was told about Savannah slam choking Star. And apparently these videos, they were videos made of this happening and they were posted on Facebook for everyone to see, like Savannah, I don't know, being very proud of herself, of how she is practicing her skills on a 16-month-old baby. You have to be delusional to do this. You have to be not there at all. In June, David Fawcett posted a picture of Star with bruises on Facebook alongside a happier shot and with the caption, "From this to this in 5 weeks. What's going on, Frankie?" Star's father, Jordan Hobson, made contact with social services. Frankie said her daughter hit her face on a coffee table. On 28th of August, David Fawcett received a video of Star with bruises and confronted Savannah Brooks. On 2nd of September, social workers made an unannounced visit after another of Star's great-grandfathers, Frank Smith, contacted social services with concerns. On 15th of September, social services closed the case after concluding the referral to be malicious. With all those bruises and injuries and videos and photos, they still considered those reports to be malicious. Somehow, Savannah managed to convince them that Frankie's family didn't agree with their relationship, and that's why they kept on calling social services and reporting this. On 22nd of September, Star was seriously injured at the flat in Wesley Place, Keighley. Paramedics raced to the home to find Star lifeless, pale, and wearing only a nappy. She was in cardiac arrest, and as they attempted CPR, Star vomited large amounts of brown material. Star died from blood loss after her inferior vena cava, the largest vein in the body, was torn. Medics said her injuries were usually only seen in car crash victims and had been caused by either punches, kicks, or stamps. On 22nd of October 2021, Savannah Brockhill and Frankie Smith go on trial accused of murdering 16-month-old Star Hobson. Both, of course, deny murder. Of course they do. On 14th of December, following a trial at Bradford Crown Court, Savannah is convicted of Star's murder. Frankie is convicted of causing or allowing the toddler's death. During the lengthy trial, jurors endured harrowing footage of Star looking badly bruised with swollen cheeks and marks to her forehead. They also watched chilling clips of Savannah punching and slapping Star with considerable force 21 times over a 3-hour period. The brutal attack took place in her car, with the forceful blows causing Star to fall out of the vehicle at one point. The crying toddler could also be seen painfully climbing up a flight of stairs while suffering from a broken shin as both women forced her to walk. In another disturbing and bizarre clip, Star was filmed falling from her high chair and hitting the floor as music played over the top. The monster couple also captured Star so exhausted she fell asleep in a bowl of food. Detective Chief Superintendent Mark Swift, who led the investigation, described it as one of the most distressing and heartbreaking cases his officers had ever worked on. Star's paternal grandparents, Bernard and Sharon Hobson, said, "We wish to say that whilst the conviction brings us no pleasure, as he cannot bring Star back, seeing justice for Star will be our only comfort." Star's great-grandfather, David Fawcett, explained how he wakes up every morning and thinks of Star. He said the thought of never seeing her again hurts really bad. Star's referrals to social services were made during a time when Bradford Council's Children's Services Department was rated as inadequate, but we'll get there in a moment. Savannah Brockhill was found guilty of Star's murder and was jailed for life with a minimum term of 25 years, while Frankie Smith was found guilty of causing or allowing her death and handed an 8-year prison sentence by Mrs. Justice Lambert at Bradford Crown Court for allowing Star's death. But she would only serve 2/3 of that behind bars and would be due to be released in around 4 years and 1 month because of the time spent in custody on remand. Outside court, Holly Jones, who babysat for Star and made the first of 5 referrals to social services, said Frankie's sentence was a joke, and it was a joke, completely. But this will change later, and we'll get there as well. After Frankie Smith's arrest, a psychologist assessed her as being in the bottom 2% of intelligence. The psychologist said she was abnormally compliant and abnormally prone to going along with what an authority figure is telling her to do. Frankie Smith turned 18 a month after Star was born, and her family said she was very immature for her age. She was still playing with dolls when she was 16, favoring lifelike models that she would wrap up when it got cold. Though she was initially delighted with Star, she soon lost interest and would leave her with friends and family to go out drinking. Following public backlash, and I honestly think that this is the only reason it happened, because of the public outcry. So in some of these cases, the more outcry you get and the more the public gets together to try and bring justice, it works, especially nowadays with social media, and you have so many platforms where you can share your views on. And in this situation, Suella Braverman referred Frankie Smith's 8-year prison sentence to the Court of Appeal after deeming it unduly lenient. So you would think that that would be a good thing, right? And I think that at one point Frankie was considering appealing her first sentence, or was in the process of appealing her first sentence, something to the likes of that. Frankie had her jail term for causing or allowing Star's death increased by 4 years. She will serve 12 years in prison rather than 8 following a hearing at the Court of Appeal, which again in my eyes it's nothing. Frankie's sentence was referred to the Court of Appeal by the Attorney General's office under the unduly lenient sentencing scheme. 3 senior judges increased her sentence to 12 years in prison. She will have to serve half of the sentence before she will be released. Tom Little, Queen's Counsel for the Attorney General's office, said the original judge had found Frankie to be a neglectful and cruel parent who thought only of her own interests. He argued that there were aggravating parts of Frankie's crime that were not taken into account, and that the sentencing judge, Mrs. Justice Lambert, had wrongly lowered the number of years she should serve. At the trial, prosecutors said the injuries that caused Star's death involved extensive damage to her abdominal cavity caused by a severe and forceful blow or blows, either in the form of punching, stamping, or kicking to the abdomen. Over several months, the toddler also suffered other injuries, including numerous rib fractures, the fracture and refracture of her leg, and the skull fracture. Zafari Ali, Queen's Counsel for Frankie Smith, said it was simply incorrect to say his client had not been remorseful, adding she expressly said how sorry she was for her cruelty and neglect. But honestly, guys, in my opinion, it's one thing to say something, because anybody can say anything, especially when you are accused of a murder. You will say anything, to make yourself look like you are remorseful, but then your actions speak differently, don't they? So in written arguments, the barrister said that Frankie was unaware of the extent of the injuries Savannah inflicted on the toddler before her murder, adding that she was a victim of DV, immature, and also of a low intelligence. And seriously, from my point of view, this is a very weak argument to make there. How can you live in a house with someone and your own child as well and not be aware of the extent of injuries inflicted on your own child by your live-in partner, who you live in with in the same house? Where was Frankie then if she was unaware? Where was she if she was unaware? Oh yes, I remember, she was clubbing and dancing and drinking. Yeah, maybe. Then of course, another thing here, trying to bring in the DV as well. I mean, you have to try, right? Dame Victoria Sharp, sitting with Mr. Justice Sweeney and Mr. Justice Jeremy Baker, said Starr was the victim of pointless and self-absorbed rows between Frankie and Savannah. Starr was caught up in the crossfire in the relationship between the two women. The judges found that the sentencing judge was wrong to reduce Frankie's sentence in the way she did based on the mitigation, including of Frankie Smith losing her daughter. Okay, but then wasn't Frankie's fault for losing her own daughter, because she brought Savannah into Star's life and into their home life as well, fully knowing that she was aggressive, and she lost her temper and she loses her temper. So yeah. Dame Victoria continued, in our judgment, no less a sentence than 12 years would meet the justice of this case. That's hardly enough, right? But you think though that it still is something. But really, all it did, it made things better for Frankie Smith, now that her initial sentence was quashed and it was appealed. And this will follow another public outrage because the new sentence is even more lenient than the first. So what was the point of it? The appeal judge ruled that the original trial judge had also been wrong to send Frankie Smith to an adult prison due to her age. MP for Keighley said deliberate disregard for baby meant her sentence should have been extended even further. The MP dismissed the sentence increase handed to Star Hobson's mother as not enough. As it emerged, she will be moved to a young offenders institution and could still be out in 5 years despite allowing her toddler to be murdered at the hands of her bouncer girlfriend. But this is not all. While she had been due to serve 2/3 of her sentence before being considered for release, this was now reduced to half because her youth means she is ineligible for an extended minimum term. The 443 days Frankie Smith spent on remand means she could be out in around 5 years. So what was the point of it all? What was the point? Robbie Moore, MP for Keighley, suggested Frankie Smith's deliberate disregard for her baby meant the sentence uplift was not enough. Well, that's not so hard to figure out, is it though? Quote, following my request to the Attorney General Office for Smith's sentence to be reviewed, I welcome that the Court of Appeal had found the original sentence to be unduly lenient and, as such, have increased the sentence to 12 years, but it is my view this still isn't long enough, he told the Telegraph and Argus. As the court heard, Smith was responsible for a deliberate disregard for Star Hobson leading up to her death, including making misleading statements to social services. I respect the Court of Appeal must act within the existing sentencing guidelines, but my opinion remains that 12 years is simply not a long enough sentence for the horrific crime of allowing the death of a child. But of course it's not enough, and that's the reason why there was a public outcry to begin with. That's why it was a public backlash from it, because of the lenient sentence. And she got 8 years, and then she got her sentence increased to 12 years, but then she got moved to the youth institution, and then she only needs to serve half of that, and then she also served already 443 days, which counts towards her staying in prison, which all in all, after the appeal for the lenient first sentence, she is now better off because it worked in her favor. Oh my god. How does the justice system work? I don't know. I don't know. Speaking about the events leading up to her niece's murder, Alicia Zeppler, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, said she warned social services and police that the toddler was at risk, but was left feeling no one was listening to her. The day that it happened, I knew it wasn't an accident. I knew that I was right and they should have listened, Mrs. Zeppler told Sky News. Doctors also discovered a number of significant injuries the baby had suffered at different times during her short life. This included 2 fractures to the right shin bone caused by forceful twisting, a fractured skull, and an old brain injury. In total, she had 15 separate injuries to her head and 10 bruises to her legs, ankles, feet, and toes. Star's great-granddad, David, slammed Savannah after the verdict was reached, after revealing his wife had asked social services, "Do you want another baby P?" He said, "To me, she was just pure evil. I just can't believe she could do something like that to a baby girl. We were just a quiet, lovely family, and she ascended from the bowels of hell and just completely devastated and wrecked our family. It's disgusting because there were 5 referrals. Not one of them did anything. It's just beyond belief, really." A report into the contact agencies had with 16-month-old Star Hobson before she was murdered by her mother's girlfriend has been delayed. A local child safeguarding practice review was due to be published before the end of January 2022, but the Bradford partnership said further work was needed, including making sure Star's family's views are fully reflected. The killing of Stars and details of how she was subjected to months of assault and psychological harm caused a national outcry, especially as the trial came shortly after the case of murdered Solihull 6-year-old Arthur Labinho Hughes. Starr's great-grandfather David Fawcett led the questioning over why social services and police did not act despite 5 different family members and friends raising concerns with the authorities in the 8 months before she died. Jane Booth, chair of the Bradford Partnership working together to safeguard children, said in a statement, "Following detailed discussions between the National Panel and the Safeguarding Partnership for the Bradford District, we have taken the decision to do further work to the local child safeguarding practice review into how agencies responded to the events leading up to the terrible murder of Starr Hobson. This means that we will not be in a position to publish the review in January 2022 as we had originally projected." Mrs. Booth said some of the evidence which emerged in the trial was not available to the independent person undertaking the review. She said, "Both the National Panel and our partnership have agreed that this mass of evidence needs to be looked at in great depth to make sure the review's recommendations are as robust as they can be so that learning for all agencies is captured." Or is it so to give it more time to pass so that people will, forget everything about it and maybe they don't need to publish that review? I don't know. I'm just saying. Honestly, guys, this is a truly heartbreaking case. Yet another child is allowed to die. What saddens me the most, though, is those gorgeous big blue eyes Starr had, and she inherited them from her mom, the same mom that was not there to protect her when she needed her the most. I wonder, how can she sleep at night knowing she allowed and facilitated the death of her 16-month-old baby? Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Please let me know what do you think in the comment section down below. Also, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down, whichever way you prefer. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps my channel out. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so and hit the notification bell to on so you are notified of any new videos I upload on this channel. Also, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/CatalinaLupsa if you think I need a coffee. I don't know, it's up to you. Either way, I'm happy to have you here. Anyway, thank you guys again so much. Please take care and stay safe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!